how you doing? Scott from Scott's Bass Lessons again. Hope you're well. If you haven't checked out scottsbasslessons.com yet, make sure you do so, because there's literally hours and hours of tutorials just like the one you're about to watch. And don't forget to subscribe when you go there as well, because if you subscribe, you're going to get free exclusive subscriber only content. So not the stuff on YouTube, the stuff that I only send out to my newsletter readers. So check it out after this lesson. In this lesson, I want to talk about ballads. Now, dynamics when it comes to bass players is, for me, one of the key things that I see multiple students kind of forgetting about. You know, they're so into sort of like technique or playing fast or slapping or improvising that they don't really concentrate too much on dynamics. And ballads, and I should say that I suffered from exactly the same thing. I can remember doing a gig when I'd just been playing I'd probably been playing about 6 or 7 months or something like that, and I was playing a gig, and after the gig the piano player pulled me to one side. He was like, man, you've got to get more dynamics in your playing. You're just sort of like, the notes are right, you know, everything's cool, but you just, you know. And check it out next time you see a bass player playing, you know, check out, is he playing dynamically? Is he sort of like, is it going up? Is it going down? Has he got control of that? Or is it just something that's happening without him even thinking about it? So ballads are really, really good to practice dynamics on, because they make a huge difference. And as a bass player as well, ballads are so cool because we can affect the vibe of that ballad so much. You know, we've got it by the reins really when we're playing ballads. And I love playing ballads because of this. I didn't in the past, you know, I just thought, oh, it's a ballad, you know, and just boom, 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 didn't really think about it. But when I really looked into it and got into studying dynamics and things like that, it just opened up a whole new sort of like, you know, playground, as it were. So the chord sequence that we're going to be looking at over, well, the ballad that we'll be playing is simply in the key of C, but it's a 2-5-1-6. What does that mean? Okay, so a 2-5-1-6. Well, a C major scale, or the key of C, has 7 chords in it. Okay, so if it was a C major scale, there's a chord built from every one of those notes. Okay, and the first note of the C major chord, the scale, first note of the C major scale, that would be the 1 chord. The second note of the C major chord, that would be the 2 chord. Third note of the C major chord, C major scale, that would be the 3 chord, and so on. So when I say a 2-5-1 in the key of C, it all relates to the C major scale or key. And the chords are, if you want to download this PDF, by the way, or the backing track that we'll be working on, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link just below this video. Hit that, it'll take you straight to the page that you can download it. Or if you're watching this on my website, it is right there underneath. Just so when we're talking through these chords, you can actually see what I'm talking about as well as watch me. So the chords are, the first chord is a D minor 7 chord, which is this sound. The second chord is a G7, G dominant 7 chord. The third chord is a C major 7 chord. And then the fourth chord is an A7 chord. It's actually an A7 flat 9. I put a flat 9 in there to make it a little bit spicy. Now, when you're playing over these chords or playing over any chords, it's really important that you know your chord tones or arpeggios. If you hear somebody say arpeggios or chord tones, they're much the same thing, okay? Now, you need to know these, because if you don't know them, if, say for instance, we were playing a D minor G7 C, which is what we're going to be playing, if you didn't know your chord tones, the only thing you'd be able to play is just roots. Okay, but we want more freedom than that. We want to be able to, you know, join in with the rest of the band and interact and rhythmically and harmonically and all that kind of thing. And the only way that we can do that is if we know the notes within the chord. So I'm just going to talk you through them now so you know what you've got in your palette of colours basically to put into the music when you're playing it. So the D minor, okay, the D minor arpeggio is D, F, A, C, and D. The G7 is G, B, D, F, and G. And the C major 7 is C, E, G, B, and C. But you should also be aware that these arpeggios or chord tones are all over the neck, okay? So I could play a D minor here, but I could also play the same notes here, or here, or here. The G7, they're all over the neck. Now, there's techniques of learning these. I can't go into today because we're not talking about that. At the end of this tutorial, if you want to go check out some of the tutorials where I'm specifically talking about learning your arpeggios and chord tones, just go check them out on Scott's Bass Lessons. There's literally hours of stuff talking about this, so go check them out. So now let's put the backing track on, and I'm going to give you a few different examples of how you should play on a ballad, or how you should practice playing on a ballad, and the different things that you can look at doing on it. So now I'm just going to play root notes to start with. Just let's see what kind of vibe we can get from that, okay? That's the D minor. I notice where I'm picking as well. I'm not picking down here. I'm picking around the neck because I'm trying to get that nice warm sound. I'm just letting the notes float through the bar. Now let's put the 5th in, okay? See how much more rhythmically I can play with that 5th. Up here. Sometimes before looking to use other notes, you should look at the rhythm. You know, see if you can expand using your rhythm instead of just looking for the note. Now I'm going to start putting the 3rds in. That's going to bring even more colour to it, okay? There I hit a 3rd before the root, and I can do that on all the chords. Check it out. 3rd of G. I'm going to go to the 3rd of C. And then the 3rd of A. Once more. 3rd of D. 3rd of G. I'm still just playing roots and 3rds and 5ths here. 3rd of A. Now let's add some in 7ths in. 3rd of G. Now, remember I said we had a lot of power as a bass player when we were playing ballads? I'm just going to try and demonstrate that now by using space. So it's all been kind of chilled, hasn't it? We've been kind of floating along. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of space in, check out the vibe changes. to long notes. Short notes, funky. Try and be really experimental with your rhythm as well. Last time. So there you can see how dynamic you can be when playing a ballad. You can do so many different things. You do roots, roots fifths, roots fifths thirds, roots fifths, roots thirds, fifths, sevenths, you know, and you can try and expand that and even do it in a live situation. Just think to yourself, okay, I'm just going to sit on the root now and I'm going to expand it harmonically by adding in the thirds, maybe adding in the fifths, adding in the sevenths, and by doing that, you're going to have, well, it's going to expand harmonically to the listener as well. It's going to have a, you know, an effect on the actual sound of the song in its entirety. So really look at doing that, and again, use space when you're practicing this stuff. You know, go from long notes to short notes. Try and put the power in your hands to change the vibe of the tune. You know, do this as well in a shared environment. Do it with other players. It's great to get together with friends and jam and stuff like that. But if you can't do that all the time, there is a backing track for this. It's, you know, just click that link below and you can download it, and you can do it in the comfort of your own home with a coffee or cocoa or a beer. And other than that, you know, you can think about your tone as well when you're playing ballads. Like me specifically, I think when I was just playing that, I had everything wide open. I went, and wide open, I mean, I've got sort of like both pickups on full and I've got the tone control right up. But thinking about it, really, if I was in a live situation, I'd probably roll off the bridge pickup and I'd probably just use the front pickup because it gives kind of a warm vibe. I'll show you the difference actually. So this is the bridge pickup. I mean, this is both of them on at the same time. It's that kind of sort of like bright jazz tone, which if I roll off the bridge pickup, so I'm only using the neck pickup, it'll be a lot mellower. Just a bit rounder. And going even further, and I do this a lot actually, I'd actually roll the tone control right off. And that would sound like this. If I show the polar opposite, everything right up again instead of that. It's just it's that more modern tone now, whereas I kind of like that old school, you know, that kind of sort of like, I really like flat wounds, man. I really like flat wounds. Anyway, hopefully you'll get this stuff that I've been talking about and try and put that in your own practice time and experiment with these ideas that I've been telling you. If you have enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you have, see that little button underneath this video? If you click it, I will love you forever. So click like, share, all, you know, tell your friends about Scott's bass lessons. I'm really relying on the word, you know, being spread. I can't believe the support that we've got from the forums and the bass forums. It seems to be spreading like wildfire. So anybody you know that's a bass player, just let them know about Scott's bass lessons. Other than that, practice hard, take it easy, and I'll see you in the shed.